That was not good. So Tampa Bay goes to 8-5. Minnesota falls to 6-7 after a 26-14 loss. Brady 15 of 23, 65% for 196 yards, 8.5 yards per attempt. 2 scores, no interceptions, was not sacked. 120.9 rating. Ronald Jones 18 carries, 80 yards, 4.4 yards per carry, 16 long and a score. LaShawn McCoy 4 for 32 yards, 8 yards a carry. Brady 3 for -2. Keyshawn Vaughn 1 for -3. And in total, 26 carries, 107 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, and the 1 score, which actually is kind of an improvement over what Minnesota's been doing in the rush defense department. So I guess all right there. Mike Evans, 3 of 5 for 56. Antonio Brown, 5 of 5 for 49. Scotty Miller only caught 1 of his 2 targets, but it was a 48-yard touchdown. So, Chris Godwin, really quiet today. 2 of 3 for 25 yards. Cameron Brate caught his lone target for 9. Ronald Jones, 1 of 2 for 4. LaShawn McCoy, 1 of 1 for 3. And Gronkowski caught his lone pass. Well, he caught 1 of 2 targets for a 2-yard score. Then they were 5-11 on third down. That's 45%. 2 of 3 in the red zone, so 67%. Were +1 in the turnover margin when the game was essentially already over. 20 minutes and 57 seconds time of possession. 5 penalties, 34 penalty yards. Now Minnesota. Kirk, 24 of 37. 65%, 225 yards, 6.1 average yards per attempt. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Was sacked 6 times and lost 52 yards on these sacks. Rating 90.5. Cook carried it 22 times for 102 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, and a score. Cousins was our second leading rusher today. 5 for 41. Abdullah 3 for 11. Boone 2 for 8. Ham 1 carry, no yards. 33 carries, 162 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, and a touchdown against what was coming into this week as the league's #1 rush defense. So certainly not bad there. In the receiving game, Irv caught all 4 of his targets for 63 yards and a score. Conklin 5 of 5 for 40. Thielen 3 of 4 for 39. Jefferson 4 for 8 for 39 as well there. Ham 3 of 3 for 22. Abdullah 2 of 2 for 10. Cook 2 of 4 for 8. Boone caught his lone target for 4. And then Sharp and Beebe both targeted a total of 4 times. Neither of them caught a ball. So 5 of 15 on third down. That's 33%. 2 of 4 in the red zone. So 50. -1 in the turnover margin. 39 minutes and 3 seconds in time of possession. 5 penalties and 71 penalty yards. Now we get into real thoughts. So offensively, I'd like to buy a block, please. That'd be nice. Felt like Cousins was under pressure all day, whether that was through coverage sacks or just guys getting beat. So it kind of felt like Reef was kind of the only one that I thought was stable. The rest of them were like, but great job running the ball, though, versus that #1 rush defense. They played well there, and I don't think that's much of a coincidence with Irv Smith coming back, as I've said many times on this channel. I do believe he is the best run-blocking tight end on this team, and we already know he's one of the best, if not one of the best, if not the best, pass receiving target tight end on this team. And some people like Rudolph, I think that was one thing we learned, how expendable Kyle Rudolph is today. Tyler Conklin was the second leading receiver today with 40 yards and caught a tight end screen. He did some things. It wasn't looking too bad. You can survive without Kyle Rudolph, so things I've said in the past. But I think I might have gotten a little bit of verification today. I actually think Kirk played pretty well today for the most part, although that red zone play calling at times was iffy. Specifically that sack that was kind of fumbled and then Kirk fell on it. That, to me, was definitely play call beating play call, and something where I really feel like we need to start giving Kirk some actual authority at the line of scrimmage to change plays, because that play had no chance to work at any point. So, just what it is. And they needed more chunk plays. It felt like they were very good today at just these methodical drives. They eat 5 to 8 minutes of the clock and they go and go and go, which is fine if you make your kicks. They did not. They did not make the kicks. But you needed more chunk plays. Didn't really get them. At times they did, but it wasn't like consistently getting any kind of chunks. Defensively, I think they actually did much better than I expected them to, but still there were issues that have plagued them. The interior pressure still was pretty much non-existent for the most part, and I still think the edges are way too willing just to run right around the edge and let the tackle kind of swing them out like they're taught to, as opposed to playing any form of contain. So that was rough. Although it was a rough test for the corners for the most part today, and I'll kind of give them a B for it. I think you saw some good and some bad, but like I was saying in the little preview, I don't think that this game would be necessarily a great game for the young corners, but more of a vital teaching game, and they played a lot better than I thought they would, so I think that's a really good plus for the day. I think they missed Kendricks a lot today. Todd Davis, he's never been a cover guy. That's why Denver cut him. He's a tackling machine, yes. Can he cover? Not really. And you kind of saw that on the first drive, where I think, was it to Godwin? It might have been to Godwin. And number 40 was the closest there. There was that slight hesitation where he could have maybe put a hand on the ball or maybe done something there. He did not. And that's just kind of how he's been. He's not a pass coverage guy. He's better probably along the goal line where teams more often than not run the ball. And then I will talk about special teams. Dan Bailey in specifically. Now, Dan Bailey, he's cost Minnesota 15 points the last 2 weeks against Jacksonville and today. Now, if Daniel Carlson was any kind of indication, that would tell me he's probably gone. However, I haven't looked at it yet. I'm probably going to take a look now. But he was signed to a 3-year extension. So I'm not sure if cutting him right now is better than waiting till after the season, like financially speaking. But because if there is a larger, like let's say they lose, like for some reason, like $2 or $3 million immediately to the cap if they were to cut him right now. But maybe you can cut that down to $1 million after the season. And if you already kind of view this as it's already a long shot to make the playoffs, would it be better just to have him be here and maybe suck for the next 3 games or play for his job for the next 3 games? Or do you cut your losses now and hope for the best on that? But I need to look at it first. But I'm thinking that contract extension could actually be kind of a factor there. But overall in this game, not having those 10 points really, really hurt the Vikings. They got the ball back with 5 minutes and 16 seconds left in desperation mode. Everyone knew they had to throw. They had to go for it on 4th down every time it came. It was like good luck with doing anything at that point. Like everyone knows what you're going to do. It's going to be covered well. You're going to get a lot of blitzes. Things are not going to go your way. We all knew that. However, 10 points, if you added 10 points to that score, you're down 26-24, 5 minutes, 16 seconds left. You got 1 timeout in your pocket. You've ran for 160 yards on the day. You can keep them honest. You don't need to be in this super ultra predictable situation, and you have a chance to actually do something and pull off this upset. Now, it didn't work out that way because Dan Bailey decided, I don't know how to kick between these yellow lines anymore. But yeah, Minnesota, I think for the most part, as a team, actually played well enough to possibly win this game. The problem is the kicker did not. The kicker did not pop up to this game ready to actually kick the ball. And that was a problem. Now, I will talk about this just because I think some people will make a bigger deal out of it than it is. The officiating did suck. I will say, as a whole, it was horrible. And it was also not the reason they lost. Dan Bailey was kind of more or less the reason they lost. That and this offensive line being horrendous. Because, like I said, I think Reef is the only one that I was like, I think you were okay. And O'Neal kind of, I don't know how he kind of went out for a bit. You saw some Rashad Hill. Then Rashad Hill went out for a bit. And then you saw some Dozier at right tackle and Samia at left guard. But mercifully, the quarter ended and we didn't get to see that. And so I don't know how, when O'Neal came back in, how good he was, per se. Like, was he operating at less than 50%? I don't know. But that might have been a little bit of an issue in that fourth quarter. And Dozier, I'm getting really tired of Dozier. And I'm really, really hoping that for once they value this guard spot. It's been forever that they've actually valued a guard. Although I think you could argue Ezra is valuing a guard, because I think they did view him as a guard, second round draft pick. But they need to find another way to get a starting caliber offensive lineman there at left guard, because Dozier does not cut it. On the first drive, you saw him essentially help Shaq Barrett sack Kirk Cousins because he failed to pick up a stunt, and then he was essentially unevaded to Kirk Cousins, and he got there so quickly that it looked like he was going over for the strip sack, so Dozier just helped Cousins get to the ground instead of fumbling the ball. Now, it's a good thing that he didn't fumble the ball, but at the same time, your left guard is helping you help the other team sack the quarterback. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And I'm just getting kind of tired of plays happening, and within not even 5 seconds, like half a second, Dozier is looking into the face of Kirk Cousins. That is not a good recipe for success. Anytime your offensive lineman is looking at your quarterback and knowing that will happen probably 5 times out of 10 with Dakota Dozier. You can't have it. And on defensive Dakota Dozier, he's never been a starting offensive lineman. This is, once again, just how Minnesota butchers lines. And I'm kind of tired of seeing it that way. And although back to just officiating, kind of went on a rant there. But it did suck today. Not the reason they lost. It was just super inconsistent, and you never like to see that, because that's kind of like a dice roll where it's like, oh, a good thing happened. Do you want to ruin it right now, or do you not want to ruin it? And it's kind of both sides looking at the refs like, oh, cool, touchdown. Oh, okay. So that's just how it was today, and I don't like it. I would like to know your guys' opinions down below. Thoughts, comments, all the good stuff. That's what it's there for. Like and subscribing, super helpful. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.